Hello everyone, this is Vrishali and you are watching Power Electronics and Applications series. In our last two sessions of this Unit 6, we have studied HVDC, that is a high voltage DC transmission line, and UPS, that is uninterruptible power system. So these two applications we have already studied. In this video we are going to study how the power electronics is used in the battery charger as well as electronic lamp ballast. So these are the applications in which we will see first the battery charging applications. This is a block diagram for a battery charging circuit using SCR. So here SCR is used along with the 4 diodes D1, D2, D3, and here Zener diode is used. Here is a switch S1 and 12 volt battery supply. So a 12 volt discharged battery is connected in the circuit as shown over here. When the switch S1 is closed, a single phase 230 volt supply is stepped down to 15015 volt by a center tap transformer. So this switch S1 is closed, then this 230 volt 50 Hz single phase supply will be stepped down using this transformer, and the diodes D1 and D2 forms a full wave rectifier circuit. Due to this, the pulsating DC supply appears across the PQ terminals. So across this, the pulsating DC supply will get generated. When the SCR1 is turned off, its cathode is held at a potential of a discharged battery. During each positive half cycle, when the potential of point O here rises to a sufficient level so as to forward bias the diode D3 and the gate cathode junction of a SCR1. So the gate pulse is provided to SCR1 and it is turned on. When this SCR1 is turned on, the charging current flows through the battery. Thus, during each positive half cycle of a pulsating DC supply voltage across PQ, this SCR will get triggered. The charging current is passed till the end of the half cycle. Due to the Zener diode DZ, the maximum voltage of point O is held at 12 volt. So due to this, as the battery voltage rises and it finally attains the value which is equal to this 12 volt, when the battery is fully charged, the cathode of SCR1 is held at 12 volt. Therefore, the diode D3, this middle diode, and the gate cathode junction of this SCR, silicon controlled rectifier, these two cannot be forward biased since the potential of point O can reach up to 12 volt. Hence, no gate current is supplied and in this case SCR will not get triggered. In this way, after full charging, further charging is automatically stopped. Now in case of Tickle charging arrangement, so using the same circuit of at input side, that is using center tap transformer, this input 230 volt AC supply is stepped down to 15015 volt AC supply. So this input side circuit is similar to that of the previous diagram, but in this case the diodes D3 and D4 acts as a rectifier and it generates pulsating DC supply. This is also a similar. Then what is the difference in this? This DC voltage is applied to a battery charger, this battery charger circuit, between the point P and Q. The discharged battery is connected between the terminal O and Q here. So this is a discharged battery which is connected between O and Q, and the battery charger circuit is this total P and Q. So when the battery voltage is less than 11 volt, the peak of voltage VR3 at the wiper of a pot R3 is less than the breakdown voltage Vz here, which is 11 volt of a Zener diode DZ. So this Zener diode voltage will be 11 volt and the voltage across this resistor R3 will be less than this Vz voltage. Hence, the gate current is not injected into SCR, the second SCR, that is SCR2, and this SCR2 will not get turned on. Thus the SCR2 is off. So during the positive half cycle of a pulsating DC supply voltage, this SCR1 receives the gate current through R1 and D1 and it will get turned on. After turning on the SCR1, the charging current will flow through the battery. So in this way, during each positive half cycle, the SCR1 will get triggered, and as it conducts till the end of half cycle, so during this the charging is continued with the subsequent rise in battery voltage. So when the battery voltage exceeds the 11 volt, so that the peak of voltage VR equals to the breakdown voltage, that is a Zener diode voltage DZ, or the voltage can be noted as Vz, which is across the Zener diode, that is a 11 volt in this case, plus the gate voltage. So the breakdown of Zener diode DZ will take place. The gate current is supplied to SCR2 and then it is turned on. So here you can see the gate terminal of SCR2 is connected to the Zener diode. So as the breakdown occurs in this DZ, that is to Zener diode, the gate current is supplied to SCR and this SCR2, second SCR, will get turned on. So at first SCR2 triggers at 90 degree, it will coincide with the peak supply voltage, peak charging current and maximum battery voltage. So as the charging continues through SCR1, the battery voltage rises and the triggering angle of SCR2 advances in the each half cycle until it triggers the main SCR1. So when this happens with SCR2 on, the voltage divider arrangement of R1 and R2 keeps voltage at anode of D1 less than the voltage of cathode SCR1. Therefore, D1 gets reversed biased and the gate current is not supplied to SCR1. So as the SCR2 is on, now in the second case the SCR2 will be on, so due to the voltage division of R1 and R2, the voltage at anode of this D1 diode 1 will be less than the voltage at cathode of this first SCR. Therefore what will happen, as this voltage is less, this D1 will get reversed biased, and due to that the gate current will not be supplied to SCR1. So the SCR1 is prohibited from turning on and a heavy charging current through SCR1 will get stopped. So for trickle charging, a branch containing diode D5 here and a resistor R4 can be added. So this is a trickle charging arrangement. So when the SCR1 is off, the low charging current is maintained through this D5 diode 5 and R4, this pair, keeping a slow charging of battery. So the heavy charging can start only after the battery voltage drops. So the VR drops below the Zener diode voltage, that is VZ, and the triggering of SCR2 is stopped in each cycle. So this was all about the battery charging applications. Now we are going to see the electronic lamp ballast. So this is the conventional fluorescent lamp with the inductive ballast, and this is the block diagram of electronic ballast. It consists of a power factor correction, uncontrolled AC-DC rectifier followed by a filter capacitor, then it will be given to the high frequency inverter, and finally the lamp. So input to this block diagram is AC supply of 50 Hz. So the lighting consumes nearly 15 to 20% of energy in the residential building and nearly 30 to 35% in commercial buildings. The fluorescent lamps are there 3 to 4 times more energy efficient than the incandescent lamps. The energy efficiency of a fluorescent lamps can be further boosted by 20 to 30% by operating at frequencies higher than 25 kHz. The uncontrolled AC-DC converter, that is a rectifier, with the filter is followed by a high frequency DC-AC inverter. The class E resonant inverter can be used in this case. So this is a block diagram which we have already seen. The AC input of a 50 Hz is given to the power factor correction followed by a uncontrolled AC-DC rectifier. The rectifier output is then filtered using this capacitor and it will be given to the high frequency inverter. So the switching frequency of inverter lies in the range of 25 to less than 40 kHz and 60 kHz or higher. The current from the source has a very poor power factor, hence the power factor correction is very easy. The EMI filter prevents the conducted electromagnetic interference signal from being fed back to the AC line. So this is all about the two applications of power electronics. One is battery charger and another is fluorescent lamp ballast. So thank you, stay home, stay safe and happy e-learning.